right, so today we're going to be starting up on unit number 5. Now, unit number 5 is going to be about religions. But before we get into those religions, we're going to talk about some big ideas and review some concepts from both units 1, which was about geography, and unit number 2, which was about Japan. Let me go ahead and put a new slide in here first. And this is going to be unit number 5, religions. So go ahead and write down unit 5, religions, if you would. That's going to be our unit title. So unit title, unit 5, religions. As I said, we're going to talk about religions in this unit. But before we do that, let's do some recapping of unit number 1, which was about geography, and unit number 2, which was about Japan. So let's start off with our review here. Review section title is going to be big ideas. So go ahead and write down big ideas and underline. So write down big ideas and underline. So we're going to talk about some of the big ideas from both units 1 and unit 2. The first one of our big ideas to talk about was the 5 themes of geography. Go ahead and make a bullet and write down 5 themes of geography. So make a bullet and write down 5 themes of geography. Or actually, you can just write down bullet 5 themes. So the 5 themes is about the 5 themes of geography. If you would, after you got bullet 5 themes, go ahead and make a 1, write down place, 2, region, 3, human environment interaction, 4, location, and 5, movement. So if you would write down those as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we are going to review our 5 themes of geography, which are place, region, human environment interaction, location, and movement. So if you kind of remember, we'll start off with place first. When you're talking about place, you're talking about a description of the physical characteristics of a location. It could also be human. So you're talking about the human and physical characteristics of a location. So what buildings in the area, what do those buildings look like? What are the physical characteristics of the place that you're looking at? So for example, if you're looking like a maple tree, it's like, oh, hey, I'm in a field. There's some maple trees on the edge of the field. You know, that's a description of where you're at. Okay, so that's a place. So when we look at place here, you know, place describes the human and physical characteristic of location. So for example, in the picture here, this is Machu Picchu. If you're doing a place description of this, you would talk about how there's some ancient ruins that you can see. You're high up in the mountains. There's a wall running down this area right here, an ancient wall. So that's kind of the description of the area, okay? So on a mountain, ancient ruins, there's some walls there, and you can see a whole bunch of other mountains around you. And that's a description of where you're at. The second one is region. So if you're looking at regions, you know, you break the world down into regions. Now, regions can be like countries, they can be states, they can be cities. Those are all different regions. So for example, you know, if you're talking about Indiana, Indiana is a region of the United States. All right. And our picture here, Isan, which is right here, is a region of Thailand. All right, human environment interaction. So human environment interaction is the way that humans interact with the environment. All right. So it's how we interact with the environment. So building, for example, this little walkway right here, that's an example of human environment interaction because you're interacting with the environment to build a walkway. You're still trying not to interfere with nature here in the picture, but, you know, you still have a walkway there nonetheless. All right. So planting trees, you know, is another example of human environment interaction. Cutting down trees is human environment interaction. All those human environment interaction. All right. The fourth one was location. If you could make an equal sign after location, please. So make an equal sign after location. So we got 4 location. We're going to make an equal sign, and we're going to write down latitude and longitude. So latitude and longitude. So Latitude is the thing you do first. Remember, that's you measuring how far something is north or south of the equator. And then longitude is how far something is east or west of the prime meridian. Okay. And remember, in social studies, just to make things confusing, we go y by x instead of x by y. Why? I don't know. We just do. So in social studies, it is y by x and not x by y. All right, the fifth thing is movement. Movement is the moving of people, ideas, and things from one place to another. So how do people get from one place in town to another place in town? You know, car, bus, so forth. How do ideas get from one person to another person? Internet, books, you know. How do things like goods, like candy bars, get from the factory to the store? You know, semi trucks, so forth, right? So that's what we're talking about here when we're talking about that. Once again, latitude and longitude. Again, latitude is your north measurements and your south measurements. Your longitude is your east and your west. So when you're doing latitude by longitude, you know, you first go by your latitude and then you go by your longitude. So if I'm looking at this point right here, that's 60 north by 40 east. If I'm looking over here, that's 20 south by, that's in between, that's 100 west, because in between 120 and 80, right? So that's just kind of how that works. So you go latitude first, then longitude. We also talk about landforms as well. When we talked about our unit number 1, geography, we do a lot of that covering when we play GeoGuessr. I realize we haven't played GeoGuessr in a while, but nonetheless, that's kind of when we review landforms. So we do that quite a lot, reviewing landforms, but that's during our GeoGuessr game. All right, new bullet, write down Japan. So new bullet, and go ahead and write down Japan. So Japan was our second unit that we did. And when we covered Japan, we talked about how Japan is made up of 4 main islands. There's a couple other smaller islands, but it's made up of 4 main islands. So you have the main island here, that's the biggest one. There's a northern island up here, island here, and an island here. Okay, so those are 4 main islands of Japan, with the capital being Tokyo. All right, so that's the capital of Japan is Tokyo. When we talk about Japan, we talk about how they had an emperor. Go ahead and make a 1, write down emperor, and then equal sign. So 1 emperor equal sign 126. So 1 emperor equal sign 126. So the emperor, he's currently the 126th emperor of Japan, and that's Naruhito, who's in the picture. So you can see Naruhito right there. He's the current emperor of Japan. The emperor used to have power in Japan. They don't anymore since the ending of World War II. The emperor is now more of a ceremonial position. So the emperor is there, but he doesn't really have any power, but he is in a ceremonial position. And as I said, Naruhito right here is the 126th emperor of Japan. So they've had 126 emperors since Japan was established. All right, 2 Shogun. So 2 Shogun. And after you write down 2 Shogun, make an equal sign. And we're going to write down Supreme Military Governor. So after the year 1000 Common Era, the emperor kind of lost control over all of Japan. And the Shogun, who is just simply the Supreme Military Governor, then took over running the country. There were more than one type of Shogun group, but basically it would be a family would take over Kyoto, where the emperor was. They would capture the emperor, have him under control. And basically whoever was able to have control over the emperor had control over Japan. So this constantly switched as various people constantly were in control of the emperor. Eventually we get the Tokugawas, who gained control. The Tokugawas will stay in charge of Japan for quite a while, for about 250 years as a family. They'll become the shogunate that's in charge. But eventually they get overthrown and the emperor takes back over control. So this kind of shogun, and then as an equal sign, supreme military governor. All right, let's go ahead and stop there for today for a review. And we'll finish up review tomorrow.